Now for tonight's final segment, we wanted to ask if Christianity is in a state of decline in this country and the need, therefore, of renewal. Well, here was Tory MP Danny Kruger in the House of Commons last week addressing an empty chamber.
And a new restoration is needed now, a revival of the faith, a recovery of Christian politics, a refounding of this nation on the teachings that Alfred made the basis of the common law of England all those centuries ago. This is a mission for the Church under its next leader, whoever that is. It's a mission for this place, this old chapel, which became the wellspring of Western democracy, and for us, its members. And it's a mission for our whole country, the route to a prosperous modernity, founded on respect for human dignity, responsibility for the created world, and the worship of God.
Danny Kruger there with a very serious and important, I think, speech in the House of Commons. My next guest has a thing or two to say on this question, as his group has just had a street preaching ban in Hillingdon, West London, overturned after the local council was taken to court in what they claimed was a breach of their right to a free speech. I'm joined now by Pastor Tunde Balogun, who leads the Kingsborough Centre in Hillingdon. Pastor Balogun, it's great to have you here. What happened?
Well, that's a good question, and it's a good question, and it's good to be with you here tonight and to share this time. But it all started. It was a regular prayer meeting that we're having. We normally have it on a Friday evening, and just before we go out on a Saturday to do outreach at the town centre. And we were praying, and a lady in the prayer meeting mentioned that she got to hear about an information being circulated around that street preaching was going to be outlawed. In fact, there was already a plan to outlaw it, and we only have a few days that she just heard about it from somewhere, and she couldn't corroborate on that information. Well, we said, okay, we finished praying, and then the following Monday, we went around digging for information, and we found out that we only had a couple of days before it became a law, because it's been a PSPO that was put out that was going to outlaw street preaching
in the town centre.
In the town centre, and that was going to be a remarkable statement that will totally, of course. What
that would have meant to you, Pastor Balogun, is that you would have been criminalised.
Absolutely.
And risked a fine of £1,000 if you carried on preaching. In your church is well known locally. It was once attended by the Arsenal and England footballer Bukayo Saka. It's well known locally. It's an important church locally. Yeah.
I mean, I think for us, we were quite concerned that what we have always done, and we know that we're lawfully doing, to share the gospel and share the love of Jesus Christ with people in the community, was going to become a criminal offense, and we will be fined for that. That was very concerning, and we were thinking, what else can we do? And we found out some more information. The more we looked at, the more it was going to be something that we need to really stand and see what to do about it.
And this was brought in by Conservative government, Anti-Social Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014. It was PSPO legislation. I mean, this surely is not what it was intended for.
I mean, it was a public space protection order that it was called, and it was meant to outlaw antisocial crime and behavior in the town centre by Yobs and all that. But we found it very concerning that sharing the love with our neighbours was going to be termed as antisocial offence and crime, and that was very concerning.
The council said it's a misleading to suggest it was a ban on sharing Christian beliefs or censorship. They say this PSPO applied to everyone, not just Christian preaching groups, and was meant to address concerns about the inappropriate use of amplification equipment and concerns about leafleting and unauthorised pop-up displays. So clearly they're trying to go after people bothering other people in the street, and your church was caught up in that.
And I think that is the downside of it, which was it would have been well taken care of if there was due consultation, which was what we were asking for. There was no consultation, there was no letter, there was no email, there was nothing to suggest that what we have always done every week, week in, week out, was going to become outlawed. And we found out just by mistake, and it was necessary for us to challenge this.
Well, Pastor Balogun, well done, and you'll be on the streets again in Hillingdon.
Well, we were still there last Saturday, and this Saturday we're going to be there again, because this challenge has really helped us to emphasize and put our foot down firmly to say that sharing the love with our neighbours is not a crime, and we can continue to do that.
It really shouldn't be a crime. It really shouldn't be a crime in this country. And what's your advice to other street preachers who may be caught up in a similar kind of attempt by a council to deal with antisocial behaviour, but kind of hoovers up and deals with street preachers?
I think for us, though we won the victory in court, thankfully the law, and I want to be very, very thankful to the Christian Legal Center who supported us all through legally. Yeah. But I'm very concerned about the damage it has caused already, because there's fear being launched across the heart of people who will have ordinarily go out there and share. So we've seen some drawing back all through this last 1 year that we've been going through this. So we need to find a way to regain that momentum and get people. And what I would say to other churches is keep your eyes on the street, keep your ears on the ground, so that you don't see anything sneaky just being done.
This court sort of crept up behind you and almost stopped your work.
It can be very, very sneaky, and I think that there's a systemic way to just make, to draw back Christian witnessing.
Yes, I think it sounds like a bit of an error which is rectified by the council.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Listen, Pastor Balogun, it's been great to have you on. Thank you for joining us today.